Breaking news here, Boris. We are learning of a plot to assassinate former President Trump, a plot with no known connection to Saturday's assassination attempt.
Lying news media immediately. No known connection. Okay. Lying news media. Fake news. Okay. Fake news.
Mention that's obviously very noteworthy. Let's bring in senior justice correspondent Evan Perez for the details on this. Evan, what do you know?
Well, Brianna, in recent weeks, the U.S. government received intelligence from a human source that indicated that the Iranians were plotting to try to kill former President Donald Trump. Now, that led immediately to an increase in the protection for the former president. We heard over the weekend from the Secret Service that in recent weeks they had increased their protection for the former president. And so the question was exactly why. We now know that this is the reason why. It was specific intelligence that was deemed to be credible enough, and that's the reason why they increased the protection for the former president. It's very important to point out that there is nothing to indicate at this point in part of this investigation.
This makes things even funnier that, like, there was actionable intelligence on attempts that might come from foreign adversaries against the former president, and the Secret Service still fucked up this hard. Like, we have a gaping hole in our security apparatus, in our security barrier, if that is the case, okay? Like, this is the best increased intelligence gets you.
Investigation of the events on Saturday.
Hot take, Mossad wanted to pin this on Iran, but the guy missed. You are also insane, dude. No, Mossad would never in a million fucking years execute Donald Trump, who is literally a more popular political figure than Benjamin Netanyahu and Joe Biden, okay, in Israel. What are you saying?
That the shooter, the would-be assassin that tried to assassinate the former president on Saturday, there's no indication that it had anything to do with this Iranian plot. It appears to be a coincidence, obviously, but it is one of those things that is raising new questions, I think, for the Secret Service and for everybody involved in the protection of Donald Trump, how it was that these events took place as they did on Saturday. How did someone, this 20-year-old person, get onto that roof, again, knowing that they had this intelligence, the Secret Service was aware of this intelligence, and they had taken, obviously, some additional steps. But how did that person get on a roof and be able to fire off these shots that almost killed Donald Trump? Those are very, very big, important questions that you're going to have.
Asman has tasted the politics viewer counts. He will never be the same. Yeah. I don't think he understands that he stepped foot into a very treacherous field, though. A field that will not be kind to him. So, like, currently, gamers watching him do political commentary will go the distance, but I don't know if he'll want to continue it. Kinder than it is to you, lol. Yeah, but all I'm going to say is this area, this space that I exist in is a very treacherous one. It's significantly worse, like significantly worse than doing courtroom analysis on the Johnny Depp stuff,
Secret Service are going to have to answer in the coming weeks. And then the other issue, obviously, is how much of this played into some of the preparations for this rally. We know that over the period of months.
I'm the Geo Rainbolt of fucking figuring out brain rot, dude.
That the former president's campaign has been told and has been warned by the Secret Service about the inherent risks of holding these very large, these outdoor events where it's inherently more risky for his security. And the Secret Service would much prefer for Donald Trump or anyone who's running for office like this to hold events in a closed environment where they have better control of who gets in and out and who might have access to him. And so the question there is, were they aware of, to our knowledge, they weren't necessarily read in on the specifics of this plot, but the question is, should they be holding these outdoor events where there is clearly more risk than to do events if they did them inside, for instance, an arena?
And so this knowledge now, in retrospect, knowing why they amped up the security, that they had all the more reason to be cautious, obviously, in the setup of the situation there in Butler, Pennsylvania. When we also look, though, and of note, as you point out, this was not connected to what happened on Saturday. But what happened on Saturday was sort of seen as something, obviously, a lone gunman,
right.
Something that was a little more ad hoc. We've learned now that it was almost 2 minutes.
Even queer leftists in Poland, IRL, have told me they hate Hassan when I tell them I watch. Asmund don't want that smoke. I mean, Asmongold is not also going to have positions that, like, Polish people hate. If anything, triangulating your position to what Polish people like will probably garner you a lot of Reddit-style support. Especially Polish people. Oh, Portland. Oh, I fucking thought you said Poland. I don't know why I immediately thought Poland. Portland. Yeah. Those people fucking despise Asmund anyway. They're not going to watch his ass. Poland rant, keep going. He is very central. So I don't think you get the same hint.
People saw this man on the roof before he took a shot.
Right.
And that raises a lot of questions about how security was responding there. But just knowing that an ad hoc situation was able to almost succeed raises questions about what a state actor might be able to achieve. And knowing what we now know about this Iran plot, what kind of notes they or another entity that is an enemy of the U.S., what kind of notes they might be taking.
Right, exactly. And the issue is, obviously, the threat from Iran has been a known factor, right? There's been warnings about Iran and the fact that they do want to strike back against the United States. Obviously, the 2020 assassination of Qasem Soleimani in Iraq, the top general there in Iran, has prompted increasing concerns about specific officials inside the U.S. government who could be targeted, including the former president, but also Mike Pompeo, John Bolton. We've all seen.
I think Iran conversations are relatively silly, and it's the same as like conversations that pertain to China. I wouldn't say the same for Russia, because ultimately, like, Iran, as far as a regional actor, as far as being a regional actor, will do a lot of stuff that is polarizing. Will do violent things every now and then. But in terms of like their foreign policy against the United States of America or United States of America's allies like Israel, they have been pretty fucking tame. Like, they have demonstrated restraint even with the Israel situation. If you recall, I'd say the same thing about China as well. Like, I don't think Iran wants the smoke, the American smoke in general. I don't think they want to like fuck the bag up any further. So these kinds of conversations about like, oh, Iran wants to like assassinate the American president. Like, I think that's far too ambitious for the Iranian government in general, you know?
These people being, protected to a greater extent than you might see former officials usually protected. So we've seen all of that visibly. And so the questions you're asking are exactly the ones that I think it's on everyone's mind, because we know, for instance, that
Hassan daring them, lol? No, I'm not. I think that they are very, like I said, they're very restrained. I don't think restraint is a bad thing. It's not me provoking Iran. I think you guys are operating on like Iran's foreign policy being like barbaric and very violent as a narrative. So you're not understanding the things I'm saying. I'm saying the exact opposite of what you think is going on. And I'm pointing to like Iranian lack of action, Iranian lack of reaction, Iranian disinterest in like Iranian disinterest specifically in retaliation and escalation.
The Justice Department has arrested people who did have they did try to come up with plots to go after John Bolton. And so all of that information, I think, makes you wonder, why the events happened on Saturday the way they did. I should note that we did get a statement from the Trump campaign, and they said, we do not comment on the President Trump's security detail, all questions should be directed to the United States Secret Service, which of course is the big question, right? They're going to be facing hearings. They're going to be facing very important questions from members of Congress who already are asking, about exactly what went wrong here.
We have all kinds of questions. So if they'd amped up security in light of knowing this with this threat that they thought was credible, did they have more snipers perhaps than they would usually have? We don't know the answer to that at this point, but certainly that would be interesting to know. We also know that Iran has targeted Iranian dissidents on American soil. And as you mentioned, other plots as well. But this gets to a new level. Right? This is talking about the presidency. Someone who has been president and may very well be president again. That seems like a new level. Right.
It takes the Iran threat certainly, I think, to a new height that I think a lot of officials, I think a lot of people who don't know exactly, what's been going on behind the scenes, I think maybe not understand that the threat from the Iranians is at that level. Obviously, Russia and China are seen as the biggest adversaries for the United States, but to try to take out a former president of the United States, someone who right now is leading in many.
Bro, the Iran targets Iranian dissidents on U.S. soil narrative is like if Yeonmi Park was saying that, like, the North Korean government is after her, by the way. The only difference, of course, is that, like, most people who are at least somewhat serious journalists, like Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes, is not going to cover Yeonmi Park saying that unless, North Korea is beefed up as a foreign adversary, which they might. But the only reason why they do that for Iran is because it's like, oh yeah, that's, it's just a good way to continue a steady flow of like anti-Iranian sentiment in the media. Like, I don't think there's a single successful assassination. It's simply just attempts from, pro-Shah Iranians living in diaspora saying that there's like attempts against their lives. It's like me saying the Turkish government is after me because I've been threatened before. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about it. Which you won't get a lot of coverage on that either, because Turkey's technically NATO, so they won't actually fucking talk about it all that much. They'll every now and then cover, like, they'll do an Enes Kantar story because he's like a Fethullah Gülen supporter. But ultimately, it's not like the same stable narrative that you can plant against the same stable narrative you can plant against like a foreign adversary that we've propositioned as a foreign, like we've propped up as a foreign adversary for multiple decades at this point.
Many polls, and is, at this point, if you were to held an election right now, could very well be the next president again come January. Certainly does indicate that this is an increased level of threat. And that's what the Justice Department, that's what the FBI, that's what the intelligence community, the Homeland Security Department, everybody is very, very keenly aware of. And so the way to protect someone like the leading candidate and to protect the current president of the United States it makes it a lot more complicated. We know that politicians want to have these kinds of...
India has done more assassination attempts on U.S. and Canadian soil than Russia, China, and Iran. Saudi Arabia as well, and not just U.S. Soil, but like United States permanent residents, very famously, as a matter of fact, both in Canada and the United States, but also specifically like United States legal permanent residents like Jamal Khashoggi. But again, those are in the sphere of American influence to a certain degree, so that's the reason why that doesn't get the broad coverage, because it's not like tacked on to a narrative that like these guys are the permanent enemies of the United States in the same way that like Iran is. So that's it.
Events where they have more interaction and closer access to their supporters. And so that's always the push and pull that you have between the Secret Service and the security services, the intelligence agencies and so on, to try to inform them. And so that question, I think...
Do I think the Iranian narrative is a lie? I mean, it's not a lie in the sense that I think it's just embellished, most likely. Like, there will be like a fucking mullah that will be like, oh yeah, I'm putting a hit out on, like, it's like the Salman Rushdie shit, you know what I mean? Which is real. Like, that is a real thing that happened, right? But it's like, Is it like the official? Yeah, is it like the official fucking government policy? I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, could be. Its impact, I think, is still ultimately tacked on to the overarching narrative that like we must go to war with Iran. They are they're really scary.
Iran has vehemently denied recent reports from United States media alleging a plot to assassinate former President Donald Trump. A spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry dismissed the malicious accusations on Wednesday, stating that Iran has no such intentions against a former US president. However, the spokesperson, Nasser Kanani, emphasized Iran's stance on seeking legal recourse against Trump for his role in ordering the 2020 assassination of a senior Iranian military official. US authorities have long been on alert over potential Iranian retaliation for the killing of Soleimani. Tehran has promised harsh revenge. It is feared that targets could include former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and former National Security Advisors John Bolton and Robert O'Brien, all of whom kept security details after leaving the government, reported CNN. The initial report claiming that security for Trump has been ramped up in recent weeks after intelligence agencies received information on a potential Iranian plot to kill him did not name sources.
We're gonna have emanating from this is, did they add additional resources in Butler, Pennsylvania, right? Did they have additional snipers? We don't know that. We know that there's at least 2 Secret Service sniper groups.
And 2 local.
And 2 local, correct. And we know that one of the sniper groups was able to get a shot that killed this person in that time that he was able to fire off these shots.
Well, this report obviously raising huge questions about what that would catapult the U.S. into if there would be a threat carried out like that. Evan, thank you so much. We know you're going to continue to dig on this.
Anyway, this is fun.
Donald
Trump's surprising call with RFK Jr. is posted online, then deleted. RFK Jr. is a fucking fake friend of the highest magnitude, okay? There is nothing more of a fake friend move than just like getting a call from your bestie that almost got assassinated and then leaking that shit very publicly for everyone to hear and everyone to see and everyone to watch, only to then turn around and delete it. Is completely unacceptable. Okay? You're fake. You're phony. Why would you do such a thing? His son was the one who leaked it. Still, like, why are you filming that shit? Anyway, Sam Cedar's take on RFK leak today was savage. It was so good, Uncle. Sam doesn't miss on RFK. Fucking phony ass, dude. It was the worm to RFK. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's get to the meat of the phone call, though.
Trump made a phone call to RFK Jr., who recorded his end of the call, and we have part of that. Let's listen.
Something's wrong with that whole system. And, and it's the doctors you find. Remember I said I want to do small doses. Small doses. When you feed a baby, Bobby, a vaccination that has like 38 different vaccines, and it looks like it's meant for a horse, not a 10-pound or 20-pound baby. It looks like you should be giving a horse this. And do you ever see the size of it, right? It's just massive. And then you see the baby all of a sudden starting to change radically. I've seen it too many times. And then you hear that it doesn't have an impact, right? But you and I talked about that a long time ago.
This is Donald Trump trashing the very vaccines that his administration pushed through in a very successful way. And I just want to make abundantly clear, all vaccines that are approved or authorized for use have been proven safe and effective through rigorous scientific studies. Severe reactions are exceedingly rare, and the CDC says the benefits far outweigh the risks. The World Health Organization says vaccines prevent more than 4 million deaths every year. Critical fact check there, but the fact that Trump is trying to appeal to one of the most well-known vaccine opponents, clearly trying, Audie, to get him to drop his bid and get on board with Donald Trump. What does that tell you?
I mean, I kind of want to defer to Kristen here, but for a time, people thought maybe Kennedy would take votes away from Biden, and that was the big concern. And I think that sort of changed after a while as people started to take a look at this very kind of mixed bag coalition of people who are supporters of Kennedy and try to make sense of it. Obviously, the Trump people have, or else this phone call wouldn't have happened.
David, the other thing happening this morning, we saw this kind of, I don't want to call it leaked, but it was an accidentally posted video of a call between Donald Trump and RFK.
Let's watch the full footage.
And something's wrong with that whole system. And, and it's the doctor's you find. Remember I said I want to do small doses. Small doses. When you feed a baby, Bobby, a vaccination that has like 38 different vaccines, and it looks like it's meant for a horse, not a 10-pound or 20-pound baby. It looks like you should be giving a horse this. And do you ever see?
Yeah, classic. They're always doing this, dude.
The size of it, right? It's this massive. And then you see the baby all of a sudden starting to change radically. I've seen it too many times. And then you hear that it doesn't have an impact, right? But you and I talked about that a long time ago. And anyway, I would love you to do so. And I think it'll be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We're way ahead of the guy. And, he's interesting. It was very nice, actually. He called me. And he said, how did you choose to move to the right? So I guess that's, people say, if I was looking straight on, right? He said, I said, I was just showing a chart. I didn't have to tell him the chart was on all the people pouring into our country, right? But I just turned my head to show the chart. And something wrapped me. It felt like a giant, like the world's largest mosquito. And it was a bullet going right. What do they call it?
That's my favorite part, where he's just like, it's like a giant mosquito whizzing through my ear. Also, yeah, the Blade Runner filter on this is pretty fire.
That an AR-15 or something. That was a big gun. Those are pretty tough guns, right?
Do you guys want to see me getting caught on fire, getting lit on fire? I posted it on my TikTok.
Buckle up, because this is one of the best extractions
I fucked it up though.
I've seen in a long time.
I think I fucked it up though. Earlier today, I shot a video for I Did Things channel where I got lit on fire. Did a little bit of immolation with professionals, with professional stuntmen, and I wanted to see if this little demon back here would care if I were to be lit on fire.
She doesn't care.
Earlier today, I shot a video. No, I don't give a shit about that. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, you're not alone. With no caption. What did you even scream? I didn't. It's just that's like the call to stop, like to take the fire out. How the fuck was that safe? What do you mean? That was incredibly safe. No, it wasn't my safe word. Bro, did they do that because you post cringe? That's a hate crime? That was weak as hell, dog. You were just sitting. Wait, what? That's the whole point. What is happening in this chat, bro? Like, I lit myself on fucking fire, and chat is like, damn, y'all fucking suck dick, dude. Holy shit. I have the absolute most toxic, worst fucking community. I swear to God. Like, the moment that we sidestep away from, like, for 3.5 seconds from, like, immediate political commentary, chat turns into, like, the unimaginable haters, dude. What the fuck? It's like collectively, everyone's like, yo, what is happening? Why are you getting one guide all the time? I'm getting 1,000 guide. Yikes, dude. No, it didn't get painful at all. It was awesome. I love when chatters will be like objectively annoying and then turn around and be like, you're getting one guide. It's like, no, dude, there was like 1,000 fucking chatters immediately being like, yo, you suck dick. You're awful. I hated watching that. Get back to politics. And they think shit is sweet. They think that's like funny. Why do you refuse to debate DJT? Donald Trump Jr.? I would love to. Anyway, chat, please do variety content. Hasan, here you go. Chat, not like that. If you want to hear my takes on Sean O'Brien, I already gave it in real time last night. I was fucking losing my mind a little bit, but we'll cover it again today. Anyway, let's get back to CNN's analysis over this messy bitch, RFK Jr.
K Jr. This is fascinating to me because normally a third party candidate.
This is why most of the country hates ultra leftists and socialists. Yeah, it's just like no fun ass motherfuckers. It's just so annoying. And then they'll sit in the chat and get offended and be like, no, I just don't think that was fun. Shut up. Like, you're just not fun. You're just annoying and bad. And that's why we didn't like it, even though I've fucking given you $5 for like 86 months. And I love you. And I will defend you until the day I die. Except I fucking hate you right now in this very moment because you called me out.
We wouldn't be paying a ton of attention to, but this is someone who has the potential to impact this race. Why is Donald Trump having an in-person meeting with RFK Jr. and calling him on the phone, and they're chit-chatting about vaccine skepticism?
Yeah, so let's put the vaccine skepticism aside for a moment here, since we know that approved vaccines are indeed safe and effective in this country. But it does speak to some ideological alignment and where Trump is still in pursuit of something here. I mean, this is what I find so fascinating. He has the phone call on Sunday, of course, talks about how he's doing after the shooting as well, in addition to the vaccine piece. But then the in-person meeting here in Milwaukee on Monday, that is a concerted effort to try and see if there's a way to bring RFK Jr. and his supporters into this Trump fold. It's something that the Trump campaign has been keenly focused on throughout the entirety of this campaign. They are of the mind that there are some real alignments with the RFK Jr. voters, and they saw him as a potential threat, and you see him right now trying to embrace it.
Yeah, and I would also say, I mean, one of the things that we've heard over and over again since the shooting on Saturday is that Donald Trump is actually trying for this message on unity. Now, I will be clear. How long this lasts, if it lasts, we have no idea. Obviously, Donald Trump is not one for a unified message, but the people I've spoke to who are close to him have said that he feels like a changed man. At least he...
Dude, I hate this narrative, but like low key, maybe I'm too libbed up right now. And I was talking to Austin about this last night as well. That motherfucker looked changed, dude. He did. Last night, when I was watching his ass, he just looked like something was different, dude. He had an air about him. Look, you know, I will of course wait and see. He could be changed for the worse. That's the highest likelihood. But when he was there at the RNC, he looked different. He looked sad, you know? He looked like a man who had a brush with death. He looked like a man who had a near-death experience, which he did. So we shall see. You know, his ass only signed up for money and fame. Now that he almost lost his wig, he's second-guessing. That's what I was thinking, too, because he's like a massive narcissist who's only interested in his own damn self, right? Like, we know that. That's a fact, right? Having said that, however, it does kind of feel like this politics shit ain't a game no more when your life is on the line all of a sudden. Like, running for re-election is your way out of prison. Because for Donald Trump, it's literally not life or death, but like life behind bars, or at least some time behind bars versus no time behind bars. So he sees it as an existential crisis for that reason. Like his continuation of this re-election is his attempts at winning the presidency. Having said that, however, now that it's a literal fucking life or death style situation, well, then the dynamic changes a little bit, don't you think? Where he's like, damn, bro, this shit could get me killed. Like, I thought the Secret Service was like on it, you know? I thought the Secret Service was saving my ass every time. This is your worst day? He would never see jail, house arrest at best. Sure, but he doesn't think that. He thinks he probably would go to jail. I mean, dude, come on. He thinks he's like, once he's no longer running for office, he doesn't have that protective barrier that the Republican Party gives him. And when he doesn't have that protective barrier that the Republican Party gives him as their candidate, all of a sudden, he doesn't have like the same, like he doesn't even have, if he doesn't have campaign funds, how's he going to fucking pay for all the legal fees and shit? Come on.
He's saying he is. One of the things that he's saying is that he's lucky to be alive.
I need you to understand something, though. I'm not saying that this means that he's like, I'm not saying that this means he's like a good guy magically or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply stating that my boy had a brush with death and he just simply looked like he changed a little bit. His attitude looked a little different when he was at the RNC. It's the night. He's the belle of the ball. This is his night. I don't think he's reformed. I just think it shook a little bit of fear into him. That's it.
So there is a concerted effort that they're making as a whole on trying.
Yeah, the unity stuff is bullshit.
Security for Donald Trump was increased several weeks ago after US authorities learned of an Iranian plot to kill him, according to national security officials. While officials state there is no known connection between the alleged Iranian plot and the recent assassination attempt on the former president in Pennsylvania, the revelation of tightened security raises questions about how Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20, managed to climb a building and get close enough to fire at Trump. The US Secret Service and a Trump campaign were informed of the Iranian threat, leading to enhanced security measures. As reported by a US national security official, the Iranian mission at the United Nations dismissed the report as unsubstantiated and malicious, asserting that Trump was a criminal who must be prosecuted and punished in a court of law. Intelligence sources told CBS that the Secret Service increased security in June in response to the Iranian threat, deploying extra counter-assault and counter-sniper agents, drones, and robotic dogs. CBS also reported that details of a potential Iranian operations were obtained through human source intelligence, coinciding with a significant rise in Iranian chatter about attacks against Trump. Trump and officials, such as his former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, have faced threats from Tehran since the drone strike assassination of Qasem Soleimani, the commander of Iran's Quds force in Iraq in 2020. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And thanks for watching.